And that was and now we should be right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, those most. All right. And again, it's November, so I'll be participating for the 14th time. And this is getting pretty close to critical mass here, but
You've had that for 12 months.
but yeah,
I'll also be doing
the moving, so the 60-kilometer running throughout the month. But that's QR code to my side. I've got a couple of people from work doing it as well. Our team is the Infomos, so we're Infomo member. See what I did there? So it's QR code team, so feel free to donate or comment on our progress as we do our part for, I guess, raising awareness and funds for men's health, research, treatment for testicular and prostate cancers, and preventing suicide in the young men in our lives. Is that a phone out for a scan?
All right, moving into it. So,
we do too much because there's an M365 user group and a Copilot user group, so just whip through these groups. October edition of the SharePoint Showcase. There've been a meeting with Con Ellison from Holland around the knowledge agent in SharePoint. Really cool that one that you organize your assets inside your document libraries. A blanket list of
files.
Wow. Abstract for you, so summarize the file and read it for you.
Applies metadata.
But this embedded user experience, so they've
Tighten things up. There's
we call it rectangular oval.
there's buttons and stuff.
That's about the biggest update I've saw so far for SharePoint this month.
Sky. So Copilot, the
Copilot pages components, you can get this preview of things. So this one here is a social media calendar app. So talking to Copilot, saying I want to build a social media calendar. It does this kind of conceptual image for you. So very similar to what we've seen other tools out there. But then you can pop this into Copilot and keep building on what you want to see. So in light of this, last week was the Microsoft Power Platform Community Conference, and they announced a couple of new things, one of them being the App Builder Agent. So then you can pop that proof of concept into this guy and using natural language, say, I'm going to build an app based on this, and it pops out pretty rusty looking app. So before, it is very limited in what you can do with it, but it is just been released in the Frontier program, so the preview mode. So as it's being fleshed out, I guess, see some, hopefully some bigger changes and more customization behind the scenes. That's the so that one was the light powerhouse. This is the light automate. So you can create those robotic RPA.
RPA?
Yeah, robotic
I think around
personal in your little Copilot chat space. So lots of your own benefits, get the job done quicker or more effectively.
Copilot Studio icon got changed.
Again.
You haven't been paying attention.
Like before. Okay, so it looks like logos on the side, just stack on each other. The stack thing is consistent. So now we have a strong one.
I'm sure there's some reasoning behind
That That's
Like that never-ending staircase.
yeah.
Toasted on me.
Well, you've already got a toaster. It's the Xbox toaster. It does the Xbox logo toasted.
Yeah. Exchange.
2019. It's
Panic time.
that's the support. the October security updates were the last ever officially. You can get extended security updates. So probably better to migrate off of that. So new subscription edition. Restrict exchange online. And if you do stick on prem, a couple of halves you can take getting it secured. But yeah, same time, anything that has 19 in its name is yeah, the office business project is you. There's an offer. Evergreen still in support. The other one is Windows. So Windows 10, yeah. Except Windows 11. Yes, Meetup, the latest update, where I think it was local being accessed by the operating system. That's not fun. But we don't leak that, so we don't by page 2. Pretty based on that, ready to go now. In the endpoint security side of things, and Windows inside a program. So those are playing in the space of previewing, testing, and giving ideas. What that use. ID hybrid connect service or agent with whichever one you're using to the latest one all the time. Particularly that version needs to be by September next year. You won't be able to sync your identity all that. You mentioned in a previous the interim permissions management was retired, so you couldn't find it after October, and now it's no longer under support. But those into the bigger Entra suite. Read into it if you need to move off of that particular leverage the same services. Those OS platform single sign-on, so you've got the option to use passwordless, which is big. Resistance that's seen in Windows 11 business. So a lot of good things in between the OS hardware of security, I think. Security training, community equivalent. Course for that as an assessment, so certificate of participation. The cloud protection policy as well. It's different, but Agentic AI Business Solutions Architect AB100 currently in beta. We go generally about January, so generally with betas a couple of months. They're trying to take them so they've got enough data to go through and kind of scale up. There is opportunity for you to provide feedback to the exam. I thought the other today. I'm looking. Yeah. Someone else also posted. Yeah, the components. So yes, I agree. Usually, the architect level exams that can be very broad. Something super exams, but it definitely covers a lot of about that and Azure AI.
So thank you.
Yeah. Not from every Copilot, you should cover how that is explored. The course isn't out. The Microsoft Learn course. It'd be interesting to see what they do. Just be grabbing a bunch of learning paths and stick them together. In a couple of days, we're going to get to be fundamentals. So they're retiring the Microsoft 365 to Dynamics 365 fundamental exams. So that's the replacement. I don't know what the full surname will be yet. It might be around 6. So yeah, look up that. The major exam we don't know yet. Expert. I mentioned this one line, picture of it, like that.
Oh, was
And it's in line with the main domains of the technologies that combined the AI business solutions, and then the 3 so infrastructure, data, and AI platform. And it's the so just kind of underneath between fundamentals, security, and Copilot. There's a specialty exam for that as well. And other people, 50 days of Microsoft Fabric, so they're doing a whole lot of content in the next couple of months around different bits and pieces of Microsoft Fabric. Strong there effectively, but there was 3 they're quite last month. So now get more busy. Content coming stage, and the Microsoft Learning Committee is moving again. So they got committee. Have the committee probably see that announcement come up.
other user group?
Basically, but there are just every topic so far. There's no words. All that just don't want to hear, but we'll see what happens. That might be next year. They kind of online well. Yeah. And
Coming up, we've got
the big Microsoft Ignite conference in San Francisco this year. Got developers happening in Adelaide on the 22nd, which is a Saturday, I believe.
a joint user
Session on the 25th. So that'll be 12 to 3 on a Tuesday. So it's just going to be covering most of the major announcements from the Ignite event. So you don't have to stay up to 2 a.m. to watch it. We'll talk to you at 2 p.m. instead.
and then we'll find a off session.
Connect.
Likely at the
Crowd 4 p.m. on
Thursday, and then
December. So wrapping up for Christmas, New Year's.
there's
You're about to want to probably present.
could be on anything.
Not anything really. That's always. Should probably hide these slides. We do have a podcast as well, so out of band security. Yeah, it's myself. And from Port of Perth, we jump on every session. So you'll find us on the usual platforms. Discord server. So the SRT Connect, so from students to graduates, people, job seekers, and people working in IT. We've got a Discord server, so come and share your stories, your gripes, your advice. Yeah, it's going to hit 230 members now, so decent push in the last couple of days. It's nearing. It's I'll hand it to my speaker, naturally.
Cool. Thank you. So it sounds like I've got you guys for the next 40 minutes or so. I'll try to keep the time. Fine, is it? Okay, thank you. Give it back. So yeah, g'day. Thanks for coming to the session, and I want to keep this interactive, right? So especially you guys online as well. So feel free to come off mute if you like. If you've got any questions around anything you're about to see. So just way of introduction. My name's Andrew Lee. I'm a Microsoft Power Platform MVP. Been in the MVP program for approximately 8 years now, as well as 5 years inside the Fast Track program. So I've had a bit to do with a lot of the sort of roadmap and development of a lot of these products you're about to see here. So hopefully, if there's any questions that you have that aren't specifically answered, I might be able to give some, shine some light on it, right? So why are we here? And I wanted to make sure that it wasn't just a sort of pure technical session where you're just drinking out of the fire hose, but really it kind of is going to be a little bit like that. But really the premise of the Power Platform is to empower our users, whether or not they're citizen developers, low codes, or they're professional developers, right? There has to be a room for all of us to play here. And then secondly is to understand, I know many of you have had a play with the Power Platform and Dynamics 365 in your day-to-day, but to understand what's coming up between now and March of next year. So instead of just being one massive wave, it generally comes as little trickles, little tides. So you'll see a new functionality roll out on a weekly basis, right? And so just a bit of a refresher in terms of what the Power Platform is. I'm sure many of you are already aware of this, but it's all underpinned by, this managed environment that's has is transactional data store sitting in Dataverse. And then we have the first party apps, which are Power BI, Power Apps for app development, Power Automate for workflow automation, Power Pages for engagements with customers and internal stakeholders, Copilot Studio, which we've got a new logo as well, that's our interface to AI. And then all of that works perfectly inside the Microsoft ecosystem as well. So with that, it is going to be a little bit like drinking out of the fire hose, but I'll try to make it as digestible as I possibly can, okay? So let's start with Power Apps. That's probably the most fun place, I think, to start. So first up, we've got a bit of a refresh in terms of how Power Apps, particularly model-driven apps, they're the ones that are driven by data that's sitting in your Dataverse. So what you see up there is the old view. That's what it looked like previously. And I think Microsoft have done a really good job in terms of trying to streamline the visuals of the Power Apps and make it less clutter throughout, site navigation, as well as condensing the headers so you can get more things onto the form. And so this is what it sort of looks like, right? So it's kind of contextual. You're not bombarded with all of your, all of your menu items where you don't necessarily need to see them on a day-to-day basis, right? They're all nicely tucked away. So that, therefore, I think that opens up a lot more opportunities to do some of the things you're about to see, okay? So in terms of how do you get access to this today? If you've got a model-driven app, how do you actually turn it on? You basically set it up within the settings of the app, and you can set it on a per app basis. So you can do it for one app. Maybe you've got multiple apps inside your organization. Set it up for one, maybe leave it off for another, right? The choice is yours. So that's where you're going to find it. I think that's a huge improvement from where they are, because it just felt like that was getting stale for quite some time. I love this feature, AI Form Fill Assist. This is a massive time saver. So it gives us the ability to paste in information directly into forms, right? And AI automatically figures out where to put them inside the form. Which element does it map to? So here I've got a fictitious email here, dear Emily, here's my details, my contact details. I literally just cut that into and it copies it into my clipboard, and I can paste it directly into the form using the Form Fill Assist functionality. Zoom in on that so you can see. So I've just pasted it directly in here, and you can see it's just pre-filled all of that information, and then I can choose to accept those suggestions, like bulk accept it and say, yep, I'm pretty happy with that, or I can individually accept it. So imagine how much time you'd save by doing this, your end users, right? So the idea is that you're going to have much better data entry. You're not going to have those issues where people don't correctly type in information. You can trigger off keyboard shortcuts as well. So just navigate to the page, Control V, and it's inserted directly in there. So speed, accuracy is the name of the game here. Being able to visualize your data using Copilot, so you've got all your information inside your Power App, you know, then the next question is, and you're generally going to get this by your clients, can you build me a report for XYZ? Or you can now tell them, well, go build it yourself, right? So just speak to it in plain English and say, I would like to get a report. For instance, here, I'll just go visualize. I'd like to get a report, ask information about your data. Give me all contacts within the, you know, South Australian or Salisbury area or something like that, right? And it'll be able to filter that down. You can actually change the visuals in there, say, you know, give it to me as a bar chart or give it to me as a, you know, a pie chart, and it'll actually render that for you. So it's pretty intelligent. So it's dynamic visualization, gives you ability to explore. You don't lose any of the ability, so you can still get the ability to drill down into and interrogate the data once it's been filtered down. So really, it's just really about empowering them to do more themselves, right? So that's actually going into GA, by the way. So that was previously, you might have seen that come up. So that's actually gone into general availability now. So I guess what that means for partners is you've got confidence that you can deploy that now. This is another one that I really, really love. So if you're building Canvas-based Power Apps and you've got some inputs like you generally do, like you've got text input here. In here, I've just got a text where, you know, it might be an email or you could put some notes. You now have the ability to use PowerFX expressions to call pre-built AI functions. So I've got a function here for classification, you know, extract information, summarize the contents of this, automatically reply and do some sentiment analysis, right? So you don't have to be an AI expert. You don't have to be a data scientist. You can take advantage of the many pre-built models that are already available. And it's very, very simple to integrate that logic inside your app, right? So this is how it's actually done. So firstly, you just need to add the data source. And you can see here, I've got the syntax up there, right? So when I click select, it's one line of code, literally one line of code, okay? And I do the same thing and I create I call that function there, AI reply, AI sentiment. Very, very simple. Anyone can do this really. And so once we have that, set it up and let's run it, right? So we can test our function. So classify that email. Oh, it automatically detected it's about a meter issue or a billing issue or direct debit, right? Summarize that information there. It's automatically just giving me a really high level summary that I can play back to a customer service officer. Automatically type in a reply. This is pretty good actually. Thank you for reaching out to us. And we'll be, we'll be in touch regarding the service fee adjustment really, really soon. I didn't inform it to like, that's what you needed to write. It actually worked it out by itself. So, and generally when I run the sentiment analysis, it says it was a negative type. Sounds like it's a bit of a billing complaint, right? So that's pretty cool. And that's AI functions. I want to move on to sort of the customer experience side of things or your end user experience, and that's really around the Power Pages platform. And one of the challenges that we've had in deploying websites, both internally for internal websites as well as external ones, is all the security monitoring that you need to do, right? You generally aren't aware that something's happened to your website. You're under attack by denial of service attack until it's too late, until your customers say, I can't access your website, right? So what they've done is they've now centralized this into what's called the Trust Shield. And so here you get a dashboard-like view that continuously monitors for like DDoS attacks, any other content violations that we may have, and any non-compliance, right? We've got an expired, secure certificate, so we can't transact on there safely, right? And it gives you actionable insights because it actually tells you what you should do about it and what you should do next to secure your site, right? And it can be policy driven. So some of these things may not be applicable if it's an internal website, for instance, and you're just going to have employees accessing it. It's different to if you're providing like insurance policies to external, customers within Australia. So you might have different policies driving these rules. And the great thing about it is it reduces our reliance on third-party security tools, so you don't have to buy yet another additional piece of software to manage your security in Power Pages. Another thing that we often get asked if you're an administrator of a website is, can you please assign this user to this role, right? Like say you've got a partner salesperson that's accessing your sales website that you've deployed. Well, you've got to figure out firstly, I've got a couple of different web roles. Which one do I apply it to? So I could actually use natural language and say, I've got a salesperson here. Which security role should I place them in? And it actually recommend a role to place them in, right? Which is a really nice use of AI, I think. And then that also does the validation from day dot as well. So it will tell you whether or not you've got a problem with existing users sitting in, maybe overly permissive accounts. David doesn't need to be an administrator on this website, right? Yeah, definitely. Exactly. So I think this is a really good one. And I think it can properly surface permission issues where you're not necessarily going to be aware of them. Scheduled scans. So much like your desktop, we can also schedule scans for security risks, vulnerabilities, unsafe content onto your website, right? So you can actually, there's a couple of different variations of this. You can actually do a quick scan, or you can run a deep scan, and you can schedule a deep scan to send your report weekly. So if you're working in a government organization and you've got a chief security officer, then you could provide evidence that you're actually keeping on top of the security here, right? That's really good. The other thing is managing costs inside Power Platform. And sometimes you got to find out, you've got to go different places to find out your consumption, whether or not it's AI credits, whether or not it's hits on a website, Power Pages. I mean, you have to be a licensing MVP to understand this, all this information these days. But thankfully, they're doing something about that, and they're really centralizing this to the Power Platform Admin Center. And hopefully, I'm hoping that this becomes a one-stop shop for your licensing. So it will give you a better idea in terms of being able to forecast what your spend is going to be. Now, previously, if you were like a Power App user, you had an internal Power App, and you also had security roles that you applied to these Power App users. And then for when you deployed a website, you had a different set of security roles, right? Didn't make sense to actually have two different security roles. Why don't you unify them? And that's what they've done. They've unified it into a single security role that you can manage in one place, both internal people and external people. So that's really, really cool. And the great thing about it is if you've got existing deployed websites, you don't actually have to make a change at all, right? There's no change for you as a customer. It's automatic. It automatically just gets synchronized through to this unified security table as of wave 2. There's a nice little uplift. There's these little changes like this that a lot of people don't really appreciate that much, but like it's great that the product team is actually doing these enhancements because it's making everyone's life a lot better. And the side effect of this is just going to get better performance, right? Instead of when someone hits up the website, it goes to one table instead of 2. It's just going to speed it up a little bit too. That's a nice side effect of that. Now, if you're like a professional developer, I did say there was something for everyone. So if you're a professional developer, one of the things that you couldn't do before easily is actually using a command line, spin up a website and then delete a site. So pull one up and tear one down, right? Just via code. You have to do that sort of manually. So now there's a command line for that, basically. So that basically means that you can integrate it in your continuous integration development flow. And that's just going to streamline and just make your processes a bit more mature. It also comes with the ability to do code analysis. So if you are doing professional development and you are looking inside Visual Studio, It uses an engine called CoQL. I'm not that familiar with it, but apparently it's really, really popular for detecting vulnerabilities. So it will actually do it at design time rather than at runtime as well. So as you're coding it, it goes, oh, that's a little bit tricky, a bit unsafe there. Maybe you don't want to drop that table. Then it will actually provide that feedback to you in real time as you're building it out. So it's just going to give you the ability to catch risks a lot earlier and help you enforce standards, compliance, and security inside your organization, right? Next, we're going to get into Power Automate, the workflow automation engine. And so first things first, I think this is a big win because, I'm not often building out expressions in Power Automate. Generally, most of the things I want to do can be just sort of drag and drop via controls. But every now and then, you'll have to actually create expressions to get what you need done, right? And if you're not in there, you don't remember the exact syntax, well, what can you do? Now you can actually use Copilot and tell it what you want to do. So if an item equals to whatever, return this value. Otherwise, just return a PO box number, right? So you can actually explain to it in plain English what you want it to do, and it will actually generate you the PowerFX expression right there. Conversely, what I've found it really useful for is picking up work that other people have done. So if they've already developed a workflow, I can actually go to Copilot and say, explain to me what this PowerFX expression does. So it actually explained to me back, you reverse engineer it in plain English and say, well, it's actually taking this value and setting that. And you can actually save that as a comment too. So really, really cool. Nice touch there.
That's nice mermaid diagrams as well.
Mermaid diagram. Oh, yeah. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yep. So yeah, look, I think this is going to be really great. I think this is going to replace a lot of things that we do today via hard coding. Another bugbear that people often run into is you've developed a nice flow and you've gone and tested the flow, and it will tell you whether or not it's run, it's passed, it's failed, and it might give you a little bit more information about which path it went down. It doesn't give you a lot of detailed information. To get that, you've got to check the output, you need to understand what it's actually trying to say. What they're putting into it, and this is going to go in GA in December, is to actually understand which path it goes down. So there's nice little, it sort of tells you, if you, for instance, you've got an if condition here, it will tell you which parts of that conditions were met and which path that it actually flowed down. Really just helping you with the debug experience. Why is my flow not working? It's the flow creator. So actually present you with the actual values and the results as well. So just better for identifying these flaws. The other thing is process mining. So a lot of people probably understand around databases. They've had this for quite some time. SQL Server's had this sort of capability in Management Studio for a while. Well, that kind of capability to process mine a flow is now being sort of taken to that next level, right? You'll need a pro license to get access to this, like a premium license. But once you have this, I'll give you a real life example. I was working with a utility company that has to do service scheduling, right? And every now and then they have a certain number of people on call to take calls. So if there's an issue with a dam, they'll send out these people. This roster was being updated on a 5-minute window. To actually update the roster, you need to go through people's leave and you need to go through, on-call forecasts and all that sort of stuff. That whole routine was taking about 1.5 minutes to do in Flow. So I ran it through Process Advisor and it goes, oh, it's bottlenecked here. Sitting 59 seconds is sitting in this stage here. I said, okay, I'll give it to my developer and see what you can do about it. We got it down to about 3 seconds, right? So really give you the ability to optimize flow. You need stuff done really, really quickly. This is just going to help you optimize it. So it's nice to have this kind of tool. I think it's going to be really, really helpful in just making the product a lot more mature. Savings. This is really cool. This is like, so as an organization, if you're a seller, trying to say pitch Power Automate Flow, how do you demonstrate the return on investment for putting in the flow? You know, and the way you do that is you can attach what's now known as a savings rule. So every time this flow runs, it's saving a worker 10 hours of effort, right? And you can attach a cost rate to that. You know, if there are, you know, a higher education officer, look up HEO level 5, and this is how much their cost is, per labor is per hour. It's all publicly available information. You can attach a rate to that, and you can say, okay, this flow has run 100 times this month, you know, at a rate of whatever level 5 worker is, and this is a time save, and it can demonstrate the total spend or the total savings there. And it can actually generate you like a holistic report for all the flows in the organization, all the individual flows, and you can go, here you go, Mr. CIO, and this is our business case to go for more flow licenses because we are getting an ROI off it. Really, really cool. I thought that was a great little addition. Okay, so creating agents. Everyone seems like they're talking about agents these days. You know, I think it's agents overload. But look, I think there's a lot of really good enhancements in here, and stuff that I'd argue probably could have been in the product from day dot, to be honest. So look, the ability to trigger a Copilot agent using end user credentials, right? It's always been under the maker credentials. So now you have the ability to publish it, and you can go, okay, I'm going to restrict maker credentials from being used. I want you to use only end user credentials. That way, when you engage, end users engage, you don't inadvertently expose information, right? So that's finally in there. So that's really, really good to see. All right. And you can, they give you the ability to now enforce that, right, at an entire environment level, right? So you can actually say, okay, I'm going to force it and make sure that, you know, every time someone engages with it, they're always using their own credentials with the maker. What's interesting is that's currently off by default. I'm not sure why, but I think at some point in time, they'll probably just flip the switch and make that, they'll enforce it. Right. Copilot's only as good as the knowledge it can absorb and play back to you, I guess. So previously, the number of files that it could take in as knowledge for the agent was about 200 odd files. That's been expanded to 1,000 files now. So obviously a lot more knowledge that it can draw upon. And you can include both individual files. You could have a subfolder within SharePoint if you like to organize your knowledge, you know, separately. I think this is just going to give you more coverage in terms of like the sort of questions it can answer. This is a great little addition, intelligent approvals. We've had approvals before. And approvals have always been a bit of a human in the middle type process. M365 Teams approvals, that sort of thing. If I need an expenditure approved, I can create an approval action. It will go to your mailbox or Teams, and you go yes or no, as a finance officer, and it gets approved, right? This can actually automate that process entirely. So let's just say you do have an expenditure. And let's just say, for instance, within your business unit, you're allowed to spend maybe $100 in a given month for, these sort of things. You can actually build those rules in intelligent approvals, and provided you meet the threshold, there's no reason to bother finance with it. You can just get it automatically approved, and that's what intelligent approvals allow you to do. It automates that whole approval process. And of course, you can actually pass off to a human if it doesn't meet a certain criteria, right? So that's what makes it intelligent. So really, really good. That's really just going to speed things up from an internal perspective as well. Right. So yeah, look, the ability to run advanced approvals, particularly multi-stage approvals. There's been a lot of work in Power Platform, and I know the Power Cat team. Shout out to those guys, have done a fantastic job in creating the approvals toolkit. And it looks like a lot of that stuff has been baked directly into the Microsoft platform itself now. So you can run multi-stage approvals. If you weren't aware before, you could do things like, all to approve, the first to approve, those sorts of things. But now you can have staged approvals as well. So it looks like they're just continually investing in that approval component because they know that's a critical part of business these days, right? And the same thing for when at some point in a business process, you're going to have to ask for more information. So they've got a new action called RFI, request for information. So at any point in time in a flow, you can pause that flow and go, I don't have the right information here. I'm going to create a new action here, create an RFI. It basically creates an adaptive card or a form like this, and it goes off and you can send that to an email or Teams and say, fill this information out, please, and provide that information back, okay? And then that then reinitiates that flow so it can continue nicely again. So very, very cool there. Little thing to note, there's been a bit of an upgrade in terms of custom connectors in Power Apps. So if you need to import, like you're trying to engage with a line of business system that you own, right? You're trying to interact with the APIs. It now supports Open API version 3. So it's moved on from Swagger version 2 now. So hopefully, with any luck, we didn't have much success this morning. You could just be able to import an open specification file. And there you go. You got your custom connector. All right, that's all that means. So looking forward to trying that out. That's in February GA, so that's probably why we didn't get much luck with it this morning, AO. Okay, so let's just say you've created all of these agents inside your organization, and then they were owned by Joe Bloggs, and Joe Bloggs has suddenly left the organization. Who now owns the agent, right? So you have to manually find all the agents, manually reassign them. Well, now you can do it using a PowerShell script. So really, really nice time-saving feature here. And you could obviously bake it into your offboarding process as well, right? Enhanced testing and debugging. So I think, go back there. So being able to debug and have plug-in run history, creating simulated test data, there's just going to be a lot more emphasis on creating more robust agent actions, okay? So this is going to be a huge step in terms of trying to elevate agents to the next level. Okay, now I'm going to move into Dataverse. So look, when you add Dataverse as a source of knowledge inside your agent, so let's say you've got an agent that you've created, a customer service agent, and you need to go off to your CRM system, might be Dynamics 365 customer service, which is Dataverse. You could say, okay, look, I want to look inside these tables. But there was no real way that you could just restrict the columns that you want to look at. Maybe I don't need to include the ABN number or private sensitive medical information, right? We don't want that in the knowledge search at all. You can now have the ability to turn on and off individual columns, which is, I think, most welcome. You obviously see the use case for that. So one of the good things about that is just going to be better security, better knowledge, because you're really not just going scattergun, shotgun approach, and you're being more focused in terms of knowledge you're looking for. And as a nice side effect of that, of course, performance increases because you don't have to go do a broad search anymore. All right. Look, and the other one is, was it being able to generate and summarize key information? So I think this has the ability to use, I don't know if anyone's used prompt columns. So if you create a table inside Dataverse, you could specify, is it a number field? Is it a string field? Is it a text field? Is it an image field? You can also create an AI prompt column. You can actually create a column specifically around AI. When I first heard about this, I'm like, oh, that's an interesting concept. That's really, really good, actually. So, so for instance, here, I can actually create a column with some clear instructions that go, well, take this person's request here and categorize it. Is it in regards to a police matter? Is it political in nature? Is it whatever? It will automatically classify that. So you can actually use AI every time that record gets inserted into a database. The AI prompt column will run. And the beauty about this is you can then search on it. It's queryable. And I found so many use cases for this. It's amazing. It's actually mind blowing once you start using this. Okay, this one's for people who've had to manage a big deployment of Power Apps or Dynamics 365. You'll often get asked, our storage costs are blowing up. Why? What can we do about it? Can you reduce the storage? And then someone will come in, I'll have a look and see what's going on here. And they'll go through the audit log and they go, oh my God, these tables are just blowing up. Right, they're basically the audit, the async operation and workflow table. So every time a workflow runs, it adds a log. And these things grow in size very, very quickly. And it's just a matter of manually just clearing it out. But now you don't have to manually do that anymore. You can just set a retention policy and say, I'm going to keep that log forever, for 30 days, for 90 days or whatever, it will clear out. It's going to be a huge help, I think. I think most people who have sort of managed this have come across this before in the past. So I think that's going to be a really nice thing to look forward to as well. This is a good one for people who work in the partner ecosystem, or you could have just built a really nice connector that you needed certified. An example would be, if you're working inside the health system and you built a nice connector to what's a popular health product, Medical Director, right? No one's actually got a Medical Director connector out there in the marketplace. Hey, I might try to publish this on the App Store, right? As a certified connector. Go ahead and do that. Previously, that would have taken about 40 days to get certified, that connector, right? Think of it like publishing any app on any app store. It generally takes some time to vet. Anyway, Microsoft are alleging that they've got this down to about 48 hours using an automated vetting system, right? So now this opens up a lot of possibilities for partners or individuals to actually create their own connectors and get it up on the certified connector store. So that should be really, really good. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to actually using them. So, all right, moving on to D365 customer service. We now have the ability to manage email templates and categorize them. There might be the ability to tag them and say these email templates relate to, a hot water service versus another issue. Now you can categorize it in a nice way. I know a lot of marketing automation tools have had this in the past, but it's good to see that this has come to Dynamics 365 as well. And also better multi-language support for different templates too. Maybe you just don't want AI just translating verbatim, all your English-based templates. So it's just going to help for global teams as well. Okay, so this one is Copilot driven feedback agent. So this is more around contact center solution. So this is deployed in a customer service scenario. Once the phone call is ended, it might actually use a survey agent and pass off to the survey agent to collect feedback in real time about their experience that this customer has had as well, right? So it could happen in live chat as well. It's not just on the contact center as well. So I think this is good. This gives us the ability to have more instantaneous feedback on how we're performing as a customer service center or a contact center. Rich media. So small little update. Well, not really small, but like the ability to actually have more than just text-based chats, but the ability to share rich media via, via the web live chat or via WhatsApp. And soon to be, it'll probably come to other channels as well. So I think this is just opening up the possibilities for agents to interact in a number of different ways. I'm looking forward to voice. I'm not sure whether or not they've done that with voice yet. But anyway, yeah, so that's a really nice update. So contact center. So we've all been there. We've been on a contact center, a customer service call. We've dialed into the contact center and we need to input some sensitive information, be it a telephone card or whatever. And that's noted as a secure consult. Now the contact center solution has the ability to perform a secure consult. We're going to stop recording now. We're going to allow you to punch your number into the dialer and it's going to capture that information without at any time exposing it to the call center worker, okay? So this is going to be really, really important, pretty much mandatory out of a contact center system these days. And that's just going to help us maintain our compliance across our contact centers. This is really cool. This actually trips me out. Like whenever you're on a call with a contact call center staff and it's being transcribed, what do they actually do with that transcription? Well, Microsoft's got a really cool way of actually visualizing that conversation. You can see where it was going up in terms of like the sentiment. Oh, you can see this is where it started to go really bad with that conversation as well. So actually visualize it for you and you can just fast forward like it was a next Netflix film. You go exactly to the spot where we thought was problematic, investigate it, what we can do to improve the experience the next time around, right? So really, really cool use of technology here. And it's just really just spotlighting key moments where things are taking place. I love this. I think this is awesome. Proactive engagement through call outcomes. So like this is not just about people doing inbound calls, but if you're managing teams of people who are doing outbound calls, or you have agents that are actually performing the outbound calls by itself autonomously without a human, now it has the ability to actually attempt the call and then find out whether or not this person is busy or on call or didn't pick up or just hung up within a couple of minutes or that was an invalid number, or actually record that information. And then you can start to plug that into a journey again. If it was a valid number, they simply didn't pick up because they weren't there, try again in a couple of days. So you can build a journey around that to do that proactive outbound calling. So really good for engagement. And let me look at the time. I'm just about at time. So I'm just going to finish up on one of the coolest. I actually love this. This is probably one of the things I've been looking forward to the most out of Dynamics 365. And there was a lot of buzz on social media when this came out. But finally, there is native Outlook integration for field service technicians, right? In the past, they've just had their own scheduler, a schedule board that have to log into Dynamics. What was wrong with Outlook? Everyone uses Outlook. Outlook's the best tool that there is. So as a end user, a technician or a field staff, as soon as dispatch assigns me some work, I can see it in my calendar straight away. I pull it up on my phone. Oh, yes, I need to be in, whatever, Ranella in 20 minutes. And I can see that information piling up. And so all of the bookings are reflected in real time directly in the calendar of their choice, which is going to be on their phone. Right, so this is going to be massive. This is going to be a massive win. And in the past, I think most partners would have tried to deploy a third-party integration with Outlook anyway. So it was a natural progression, but it was really good to see. This is a huge win for field service, right? And I think this is probably the last slide, possibly. But this is schedule optimization. So say you have a team of on-call staff that you need to schedule some work. Joe Bloggs says he's called in sick, so you haven't rostered any work for him for the day. You haven't scheduled any work, but then he calls in like 20 minutes after 10, says, oh, actually, I'm feeling a lot better. I can come back into work, right? So normally the dispatcher has to manually assign work, take it off other people, that sort of stuff. This is where the scheduling agent now comes in and can propose a new schedule for Joe Bloggs who's now feeling better and can assist with work again. So automatically recommend a schedule, and then so you can see the suggestion there, and they can simply accept that, and it automatically reorganizes your entire team to accept work. Yeah, so that's my roundup for Wave 2, the trickles that you're going to see between now and March. There's a really good keynote that's available at that URL. This was last Thursday, I think this event was. So now that if you go to that link, it will take you to the YouTube page. It's about an hour long, but it's actually quite good in terms of all of the new things that are coming to the Power Platform. All right. Just that time. Thank you very much, guys. And back over to Mr. Young. Am I way too early, am I?
Yeah.
I'm happy to take questions or whatever. Keep going.
Some more update.
Yeah, have some more updates. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. No questions? All good? Guys online? Dan, Shihan? Way? Nope. Pete's good. All right. Cool. Thank you.
That's it, bro. Yeah, so our next session will be the 25th, Tuesday, 12 to 3. That will be our big night after party recap style thing. The event is like later. I'll do a round of socials around it as well. But make sure I'll come along with that. But all the leaders come. There should hopefully be a pretty good time. We had at least 4 of the user groups here. So yeah, make sure you can make your way to that. And the recording for this will be online soon.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, it's Mr. Lee representing. And yeah, we'll hopefully see you at the next one soon.
No, thank you. It's up the refreshment method.